This is our next video here on Off the Track Thoroughbreds. This is a horse that his name is Prince Pomeroy. He's an off the track thoroughbred. This is my friend Julie that has called me and asked me for assistance here in this matter. So what I thought I'd do before we get started, I'm going to let Julie just give you a very brief description of Prince and kind of some of the problems you're having, and then we'll go from there.
This is Prince Pomeroy. He's 5 years old. I purchased him off the track after Thanksgiving of this year. He's my retired racehorse project horse for 2017. I plan to make him an upper level events horse. The problems that I've been having with him is that he has been a little bit on the nappy side, wants to be a little bit herd bound and barn sour.
Come over here where she can hear him.
So I'd like to work on getting rid of some of the backwards behavior that he has.
All right, so now we're going to just do a quick evaluation on Prince, and my observations are that, you know, he's a nice, peaceable horse. He's pushy and nudgy and lacks in a little bit of respect, and that's something we'll work on here. I want to check his teeth. You had his teeth done, Julie? Okay, so his teeth are good. So I take my thumb and I'm going to go up in. Yeah, his teeth feel good. You know, I don't feel any wolf teeth. But those are things you got to check for, because you can't take for granted that it's been taken care of.
And it was funny, his owner that I bought him from had his teeth done because he wasn't breaking from the gate well, so that's what he thought. And he acted like he needed his teeth done, so his vet did them, and I brought him home, and then I had my dentist do them, and he said they were terrible.
Right. Most of the time when people tell me the teeth have been done, they're terrible. And like even when you told me you had them done, I still checked them, because sometimes they miss.
Well, to be honest, that's why I don't have a vet do them.
And that's why we do them ourselves, because we open the mouth up and we very thoroughly go in there with our hands and feel. And we use the hand tools, we don't use the power tools. So little things I look for, his swirl is right here in the middle where it's supposed to be. That's kind of very important. Sometimes if the swirl's low or there's multiple swirls.
I have a couple double swirls.
Yeah, double swirls are complicated, and they're just complicated. And I look at him, and his eyes and his ears are about the same width apart. His ears are a little more narrow than his eyes. You know, he's got a good, smart head about him. But as you can see, I can tell already his neck muscles are developed to ride up-headed. And so when they ride the horses on the track, you know, there's a jockey hanging on him like this, his head's up like this. Well, here's Julie trying now to get him to where he's supple and he's collected, trying to get him into collection. So we're here now trying to take a horse that's been ridden in an extension, stretching out, trying now to condense him to where he lifts his back and arcs his neck and gets into collection. So his whole life has been spent doing one thing. Now we're going to try to help him learn to do another, which is totally the opposite. So that's when I say a horse needs reset. That's what I mean, is it's real hard to get a horse to not live in the past. You know, he can't live in the future. People do. People worry about what's going to happen, but a horse really doesn't. A horse lives in the past and he lives in the present. And you know, I can tell with him, he's just looking around and trying to mind everybody else's business and not ours. But the first thing that I want to tell you, that you got to occupy a horse's mind, and I can tell you right now, we have no occupation of his mind. You know, he's not even worried about what we're doing here. And if you look in the last video we did when I had my other horse in here, I had complete occupation in his mind. That horse was looking to me for direction, and he was standing next to me with direction. And you know, so what I like to do, the very first thing is work on getting vertical flexion. And every time he nudges at me, I correct him. I'm not punishing him, I'm correcting him. Okay? And then I take my hands like this, and I'm going to ask him for flexion. Have you worked on this any much, Julie? This kind? Okay. So see how he's bowing his neck and giving me resistance? Well, he's got to yield to that pressure to be controllable. I mean, his neck, to me, needs to feel like a noodle. Where, so when you get on him and you start riding him, if that's stiff, you really have no control, see? So I take my hand here on his jaw, and I take his nose, and I soften. Then I take my hand halfway back his neck, soften. Then I go to his shoulder, and I soften. And I keep finding places of resistance and soften. And my first order of business is to make peace with his head. I'm not worried about the rest of his body right now. I'm just worried about his head and his nose and his eyes and his ears. And see that brace that I'm getting. I hold until he yields, and then I release. And I got to be patient. I have to only give him release when he yields. But see, that whole business right there is just actually a little rebellion. He doesn't want to yield, so he's got out of doing things in the past by prancing around. Well, my goal is to occupy his mind and try to convince him that all you got to do, Prince, is just soften up a little bit. And to do what Julie wants to do it successfully, and for him to be very competitive about what he's going to do, I think for him to be relaxed first and be supple and soft second is mandatory. You can't do any of that unless you have relaxation and you have suppleness. Well, I cannot supple him off his back if I can't stand here and supple him on the ground. So, like every time he looks away from me, you notice how I get his attention. And I'm trying to occupy his mind, to let him know that he's not making the decisions here. I am. And, I just got to tell everybody, this takes a lot of patience and time. And, it's like, here, like now, we could be in a hurry. It's like, we want to ride him today. We want to do this. We want to do that. We want to start doing leg yields. We want to do, but it's like, if he can't supple his neck and give me his jaw here, I promise you he won't do it when you put the reins in your hand. So when Julie gets on his back, I'm going to ask her to ask for his jaw and ask for this flexion on his back. But we got to get it here first, okay?